Are you struggling with Kubernetes and facing a frustrating error message? If so, you're not alone. Today, we're diving into a common issue with Kubernetes RBAC that can leave you feeling stuck. I completely understand how annoying it can be when you think you have everything set up correctly, only to be met with a forbidden error. It's one of those moments that can make you question everything you've done. Let's take a closer look at the specific situation. One user recently reported that they created a user called kubeadmin with a cluster role binding, but when they tried to execute a command, they received an error stating they were unable to upgrade the connection. Sound familiar? Let's figure this out together. So what does this error mean? It typically indicates that the user does not have the necessary permissions to perform the action they are trying to execute. In this case, it seems like the user is being treated as system anonymous, which is not what we want. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to resolve this issue and get back to managing your Kubernetes cluster smoothly. To resolve the issue, the user should first check the permissions associated with the current cluster role binding. The error indicates that the user is being treated as system anonymous, which suggests that the permissions may not be correctly applied. Next, the user needs to ensure that the kubeadmin user has the necessary permissions to access the nodes. This can be done by creating a new cluster role binding that grants the required permissions. After creating the new cluster role binding, the user should apply the configuration. This will ensure that the kubeadmin user has the necessary permissions to execute commands that require access to nodes. Finally, the user should test the connection again by attempting to execute the command to access the pod. This time, the permissions should allow the operation to succeed. Fun fact, did you know that Kubernetes was originally developed by Google? It's come a long way since then, but even the best systems can have hiccups. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative solution comes from a user who experienced the same error due to a specific setup with kops. They found that the issue stemmed from a bug in kops version 1.19.1. To resolve this, they recommend explicitly setting the kubelet anonymous auth configuration to false. After editing the cluster configuration, the user suggests updating the cluster with the commands kops update cluster and kops rolling update cluster, both followed by the yes flag to apply the changes. Here's a pro tip. Always double-check your role bindings and permissions when you encounter access issues. It can save you a lot of time and frustration in the long run. And there you have it. With these steps, you should be able to resolve the forbidden error and get back to managing your Kubernetes cluster effectively. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks.